What we did, as soon as Eric asked me to be state party chairman, we started in immediately on a transition process where we reached out to the House and the Senate leadership in the state. We reached out to all the congressional members and asked them for volunteers to partake in a transition that would really be a true transition, similar to what we had done on the state side, but really just for the party. We focused on a few things I'd talk about tonight. IT, our systems look like they probably were from sometime in the 1980s. We had a big closet about half the size of this room with servers. Those are gone. We're going to the cloud. We've got new Wi-Fi systems going in. But most importantly is we're making big investments in data early on. Data is driving elections at this point in time. We immediately restarted that. So communication is another sort of pillar that we've been working on. We're trying to keep people as informed and as connected, because I know as someone who's lived in Fort Wayne, who went to school in Manchester, the further that you get away from Indianapolis, the harder it is to feel like you're connected. The most important thing that we're working on, and that is 2018. We get to relax this year to the slightest of degrees because we don't have elections, but we have huge ones in 2018. Midterms can often be a struggle for the party that has just won the presidency. We've got to understand that there could be headwinds that we're going to have to plow through, and so we need to start now doing that. And first and foremost, we've got to keep the seats we hold, which is an abundance of riches in Indiana. But on top of that, most important is sending someone with Todd Young to support the president in the U.S. Senate. We have got to beat Joe Donnelly in 2018. There is no reason that seat is not held by a Republican. When you see what has happened in the past election with Donald Trump and Todd Young and Governor Holcomb, that is a seat that is easily winnable. It's going to take a lot of work. We've got to get a great candidate, but until we have that candidate through the primary, and that is sorted out amongst them, the state party has to be the voice. And so hopefully you're seeing that we've taken the gloves off slightly. We're making sure that Hoosiers understand what Joe Donnelly stands for, what he's doing in Washington, D.C. When his votes in Washington, D.C. do not match what he says when he's in Indiana, we need to point that out. We need to be fair about it, but we need to be firm and let Hoosiers know that Joe Donnelly in Indiana is not Joe Donnelly in Washington. Joe Donnelly in Washington is voting for Chuck Schumer, and I don't know if any of you saw it, but Tom Perez, who is the head of the Democrat Party here in the last week, has basically put out a set of litmus tests to be a Democrat candidate, and I will just let you know that there are many of those things that Joe Donnelly is not. So he's got choices he's going to have to make. Is he a Democrat? Or is he going to stand by the beliefs that he's espoused when he's back here in the Hoosier State? So he's going to have a lot of explaining to do over the next 2 years, and it's incumbent upon us as the state party to hold his feet to the fire and make sure that he answers those questions.